All right, grand rising, grand arrival, grand return, peace and blessings to the righteous and repentant alike. I am Sophia of the Americana Band of Indians, and this video is an update, or I don't know exactly what I'm going to talk about, but I got 20 minutes and I thought I would just come and have a conversation, or maybe like another update, like another sort of maybe election update, or just general kind of what's going on with the energy, because I haven't been doing the daily reports. When I do start them again, I am going to backdate them to the 1st. So there's going to be a record, because I think that's important. But one of the things that I've noticed, or am noticing, is that people are not doing the necessary self-reflection. I had mentioned in my last video, I think, that now is a really good time for people to sit back, look at their behavior over the last few months, maybe even 4 years, and really see if that was the kind of person that they want to be. Now, we have Pluto moving into Aquarius this week. It's basically all at the same time as the full moon. You have the full moon, Saturn going direct, and Pluto moving into Aquarius, like all together, which is basically the moon giving the energy, or lending some immediacy to Pluto in its progress forward. And so if you are not viewing it like that, then there could be you could have some problems. So what I'm seeing on the internet is that there are individuals who instead of doing the self-reflection to say, hey, maybe I was wrong, something was wrong with my assessment, all of these people who voted for Trump are not Nazis, they're not bad people, maybe I need to look back at my behavior. What I see is a lot of people are doubling down. Now, that's very foolish, but I expect no less from the American people than a bunch of foolishness, because even though, number one, the votes are still being counted, so the popular vote is still increasing by unbelievable numbers. And so the difference between those who are voted for Trump and those who did not vote for Trump are increasing as well. And so as that increases, it's like the cognitive dissonance of people is sort of going to an extreme level. So instead of saying, let me look and see what I can find about these people that's correct, now they're doing what the Trump supporters did in 2020. Now, this is the whole thing. This is literally like a replay. It's like 2016 all over again for Trump supporters, and for non-Trump supporters it's like 2020 all over again. But the Trump supporters are experiencing what they experienced in 2016. The non-Trump supporters are experiencing what the Trump supporters experienced in 2020. And so let me just break down a little bit of what happened in 2020 for people who weren't paying attention to the energy or the elections, because I know a lot of people are apolitical, which is extremely foolish at this point, because as I mentioned 2 years ago, the mother deals in politics. The divine feminine is political in nature. There's no getting around that. Like, I'm not really sure. I just don't understand why people are just like pretending that that's not true. So before I even go into why that's true, look at the way the Creator has things set up. This is also how you set up, I just found out, this is how you set up trust organizations. You have the Father, who is outside of time and space, i.e., the Father does not do commerce. Then you have the Mother, who is the one who manages the children. The mother does not do commerce either. You have the children who do all the commerce. So the father beneficiary is the mother beneficiary is the children beneficiary is the father. That's literally how you set up trusts and business organizations. And so that's how the church is set up. You have the father, quote unquote, of the church, the pastor. He literally is the one who, he does all the stuff, but he doesn't run the ministries. You have the mother of the church, quote unquote, and that would be like, either the literal wife of the pastor, in organizations that allow that, or the associate pastor or something, but it's still a separate entity, and that person is the one who directs, or the lay leader, or however the trustee leader, whoever is the most next most powerful person in the church. That person is the one who is responsible for all the children trusts, and then the children, whatever they make, tithes, give back to the father trust, and so, or pastor, or whatever. This is why the church, quote unquote, is the wife. The wife is the one who manages the children in a family. The mother is the one who runs the household. Usually the father is the one who works, and the mother is the one who manages the children, and the children, whatever they make, goes back to the father. This is how things are supposed to work. And a lot of people, they don't understand that. And so if the mother is the one who manages the politics, it's really the female who is the one who controls the politicians, which is why you have Susie Wiles, who is a Florida grandma, as Trump's chief of staff. And if you don't, we'll have to do another video and talk about that. I mean, I didn't want to turn this into a straight political channel, because I don't think I have another channel I want to do politics on, but you guys on the spiritual side have to get into politics. There's just no getting around it. You can't believe that everything is real except for politics. Oh, magic is real, aliens, everything else, but politics is fake. Like, there's no consistency in thought. So a lot of you all may be experiencing what these non-Trump voters are experiencing right now. So let's go back to that. What are they experiencing? In 2020, a great deal of us who voted for Trump, which was a majority, because if you've seen the chart, allegedly Biden got 81 million votes, and one of the things that the Democrats are complaining about is what happened to those 13 million votes. Did those 13 million people, and that 13 million is the difference between the votes Kamala got and the votes Biden got. So people are asking, what happened to those people? Did they just disappear? Did they just stay home? Did we lose them to Jill Stein? What happened to them? And they don't understand that those people never existed. They were votes on a piece of paper. So they'll come to that conclusion eventually. But the point I was trying to make, a great deal of us watched the election. We went to sleep, and after we went to sleep, the votes stopped being counted, and we woke up, and all of a sudden Biden was ahead, and not just ahead a little bit, ahead a lot, and it was in very suspicious locations, these so-called swing states. And so that was a huge problem, and people started to investigate it. Now, the difference between when Trump supporters started to investigate it and Biden supporters or Kamala voters investigating it is that we actually found crimes, major crimes. There were court cases, there were hearings in states, there were ballot forensic audits done on the ballots. There were people who are in jail now, and who will be in jail, until, whenever, these people get let out, for questioning the vote, for being the second set of electors, which is how it's supposed to be done per the Constitution, for being county recorders. This lady is in jail for 9 years right now because she's a county recorder, and she reported that there was fraud in Colorado, and they put her in jail for 9 years. So there are people facing real consequences right now for actually uncovering crimes, to be honest. And in the midst of this, you have people who were just like, okay, we have to do something. What are we going to do? So then you have people going to the rally on January 6th. And then, of course, you see that. I wasn't even talking about the January 6th thing. Now you have people being locked up for, just showing up in D.C., just trying to have their voice heard. It was a very horrific and traumatizing experience for all those who had to experience it. And if you talk to anyone who's been a long-time Trump supporter, they will tell you it was a horrific experience to go through this thing. And so my great fear is that now the Kamala voters are going to go through what we went through in 2020. I would not wish that on my worst enemy. It was a very horrible experience. It was horrifying, actually. And it was a catalyst that forced me actually out of my home state and out of my home because of fear of retaliation from my neighbors, people around me, church, family members, all kinds of stuff. I had to go for my own safety. And so, I don't talk about that a lot either, but that was really the catalyst. I said, I'm not safe here. These people are going to come after me because I was a vocal Trump supporter, and I did a lot of social media, related to being a Trump supporter, and being that I lived in the middle of a deep blue county with people who have security clearances and don't have a problem with retaliating on individuals that they don't agree with politically. I knew that it was unsafe for me to stay where I was, and so I had to go. And so I am quite worried that these people are going to really see that because they have been so roundly rejected in their philosophy, that instead of doing a reflection to say, was I right, was I wrong? Because what I did was I took a break from politics altogether. I didn't get involved in politics at all. I wasn't really involved in this election at all. I was just an observer. I really took a hard break. I didn't vote in the midterm elections, and I said I need to, I just have to take a break for my own sanity and my own well-being, because maybe I got something wrong. And as it turns out, I wasn't wrong. But the problem with these Kamala voters is that they are wrong. Because a lot of people don't know that in 2016, when Hillary became the nominee, one of the things that she did that forced her to become the nominee, because it was forced. She wasn't really the one. Bernie Sanders was the one. And I'm not a socialist, so I'm not a Bernie Sanders supporter either, but I'm just saying most Democrats at the time wanted Bernie Sanders. Well, Obama had so much debt from his 2012 run, with all of these artists and stuff he was paying, he had on the payroll, that the Democrats were in debt about $20 million, just like Kamala's in debt about $20 million right now. They were in debt. And so what the Hillary Clinton campaign did was they bought out the debt of the Democratic Party. And so when they bought out the debt, she became the dictator. Which is why you have a Kamala in the first place, because she became the dictator. She took it from Joe Biden, who was the last one in 2016. So I guess they had made a deal that he would get it in 2020. Well, the problem with the Kamala campaign is they don't understand how much buying votes costs. So they spent all of their money on celebrities when they were supposed to save some of that money to pay off all these vote buyers, doing all of this vote buying. I mean, if you have a person like these ladies from Georgia, you got to pay them. And so, you have to pay these people. There's no getting around paying them. And so she didn't appropriate her money properly. And so that's the reason why she's now $20 million in debt, because she did not spend her money the way that she was supposed to. So you have a situation where not only did she lose, because the reason why someone will go into that much debt is that they think they're going to win, and once they win, they will sell their influence to pay off their debts. That's typically how politics works. So one of the things that a lot of the Democrats were complaining about is that Trump was, number one, he was not doing normal media. He was doing these different podcasts and stuff. But the other thing was that, he's selling a lot of stuff. He's selling watches, he's selling shoes, he's selling this, he's selling that. People were quite upset about that whole him selling a lot of stuff. But the benefit of that is the fact that because he was selling all of this stuff, the campaign didn't go into debt. And from what I understand, I haven't seen the exact numbers, they still have cash on hand. And so when you have cash on hand, you don't have to be beholden to these people who have cash to buy out your debt. But the problem that Kamala has is that no one's going to buy her debt. Why would they buy her debt? Because she's not a politician. She's not a former president. She does not have any influence, and no one likes her. All she's got is those demonic 9 people who are still standing behind her, and even people outside of the demonic 9 in the community, the black community, are saying, hey, y'all need to audit those books. Did she pay? I saw she spent $100,000 on that Call Me Daddy podcast girl set to build a set in DC for her to do instead of her flying to LA. Like, literally, she spent like $10 million or something on Beyonce. Like, these people all made them pay. And so as a result, that takes away from your cash on hand. One of the explanations I've heard for that is the reason why they paid all these artists is because they want them to have enough money for their legal fees. But Kamala's a lawyer. Shouldn't she be able to prosecute some of these things? Like, I don't quite understand what's going on here. Like, it's very confusing. So if I'm confused and I'm a avid political consumer, the average political consumer is probably also going to be confused. But people who have been lied to since 2008 when Obama ran are going to be quadruple confused, because they saw Obama come and go, they saw Hillary come and go, they've seen Biden, and now they're seeing Kamala, and they don't understand why or how Trump was able to get the popular vote. We're not even talking about the Electoral College, because some of them wanted to get rid of the Electoral College and let the popular vote be the vote that, because the popular vote would be like a democracy. We don't have a democracy. We have a constitutional republic. So that's why we have the Electoral College. So that way people's votes can be even and fair. Meaning someone else's one vote in California does not cancel out my one vote in Florida. That's why we have the Electoral College. That's the point of that. And so, long story short, Kamala voters are probably really confused, really sad, and really hurt. And the best thing for them to do would be to take a break from politics like I did. But that's not what I see. What I see now, it took me a long time. It was like inauguration, and then I said, you know what? If they're going to inaugurate him, that means I need to take a step back and regroup and regather my thoughts. But it did take me until inauguration. So, but we had proof that there was things that were done wrong. These people are finding things that are not true. They're asking questions, and the answers that they're getting are more people gaslighting them. So this is another thing. This is very much like the QAnon situation, where, you know, they kept telling people, oh, patriots are in control, this and that, the military, all that stuff. And so far, none of it has been true. Even the fact, oh, the military is going to have to come in, that didn't happen. And on the right, I've seen people who are following this QAnon stuff, and I'm like, why don't you just look at reality? Reality is crazy enough. Why do you have to even go through all of that? It's unnecessary. Like, forget it. And so just pay attention to what's really going on, like what you can see in the public. That's what politics is. Politics is public. That stuff in the back room is not politics. And that's another thing. Like, people are very confused by what politics is. Politics is what you see the politicians say out of their mouth. Whatever deals they got going on in the back room, unless you see the financial statements that they did this, they did that, the actual records. Politics is the real records. It's not rumors. And that's a huge problem on the Democratic Party, because a lot of their politics is rumors. It's propaganda. Right, it's propaganda. Whereas when somebody comes and tells you out of their mouth, this is what I'm going to do, they want you to ignore that and believe something else, which is like, I'm sorry, why do I have to ignore what the person said out of their mouth, plain and simple, and believe this story that you're trying to sell me? This doesn't make any sense. I reject that, you know. And instead of having that thought process, these people are not doing that. They're saying, I reject what I heard out of my mouth, and instead I'm going to accept X, Y, and Z. And it's going to be a big problem moving forward. I do hope and pray that people are able to overcome this whatever thing that's going on. I didn't know that's what I was going to talk about, but I feel like I should put this in chunks because it's just a lot. So anyway, the point of the matter, the whole summary of this little conversation is, please be aware of your friends and family members who are Kamala voters. It's not that you're going to be able to keep them from descending into madness, because you're not. There's no way. These people have been fed so much propaganda that they can literally not take the truth. The truth is a scripture for that. The truth is intolerable to them. But what you can do is you can keep an eye on them, and you can support them as much as reasonable. Maybe don't tell them, you know, as much as reasonable, because anybody who calls me and they're like crying about Kamala, I'm gonna be like, well, don't cry to me about her, because she was locking black women. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna go into the truth, because I don't have that kind of kindness in my heart. But some of you all do. So if you do have the kindness, you could just say, okay, wow, that's amazing. Just hear them out. You don't have to necessarily respond to them. I cannot do that personally. Because these people have basically tried to ruin my life. So no, I won't be doing that. You know, I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you over here. But if you have the capacity to do that, because you didn't involve yourself, and you haven't been harassed and mistreated as a result of your political views, then maybe you can be a little kinder to them, but it's still try to push them to say, hey, did you ever see like what they like about him? You ever bother asking? Oh, I don't like him, but like, did you even look at any of the stuff? Because maybe there's a reason. I mean, you could say something like that. That would be kind. So this video ended up being about supporting these people through their insanity that they're getting ready to experience. I only speak from personal experience. Like I said, I had to walk away from politics for a whole cycle. And I'm only sort of picking back up now because this is where I was in 2016. It's like cautiously optimistic, hoping to see good things, but understanding that bad things could happen. It's a very treacherous time. I do see lots of things that I do like there's not going to be no heavy Israel influence. Jared Kushner is not going to be involved in administration, so that is a really good sign that Israel is like on the persona non grata. And that's Israel, Jews' own fault because they voted for Kamala. So Trump doesn't have an obligation to negotiate with people who didn't support him. Yikes. And another statistic I saw is that people who identify as Native Americans voted for Trump as the largest group. 70% of Native Americans voted for Trump. So guess who he's going to give his favor to lend his favor to? That's going to be the people who identify as Native American. So that's some information for you to have. Do with that as you will. So yeah, I just wanted to make a video. I didn't know it was going to be about politics, but we have to, again, the mother and the daughter the daughter especially deals in politics. Politics is the daughter's game, period. And so if you want to be in alignment with that incoming Uranus energy from the daughter, you're going to have to get into politics. And it's best to start with your local politics, what's going on in your neighborhood and stuff like that. But you got to keep an eye on the national politics and also the world politics. All of these things affect you. I don't know why people say, oh, what happens in X, Y, and Z country doesn't affect me. That is completely untrue. This is a complete planet. And if you are the conservator of the planet, if you are the protector of the planet, how can something happening on another part of the planet not affect you? I just don't understand this thought process. Again, I think people are really, their thinking is really backwards when it comes to politics. And I know no one wants to hear this because, this is how all of y'all think. A lot of the Hebrews think like this, and that's fine. You're more than entitled to your opinion, but over here, we're going to deal with the reality. And the reality is the divine daughter is getting ready to gear up in control. Starting with this Pluto and Uranus is what's going to really get this thing. I mean, Pluto in Aquarius, which is Uranus sign. This is going to really get this thing started and, or really ramp it up. And, we're going into the golden age, whether people like it or not. And so the golden age is going to be the age of knowledge. How can you have a knowledge of everything but the politics? That doesn't even make sense. That sounds insane, like complete insanity. To be knowledgeable in all things but politics, to be conservators of only the United States, as if we're not from the earth. Some of us are, I guess. Some of the ones who aren't from the earth, if you become a conservator of the earth, then you get the benefit of, you become a son of the earth, a daughter of the earth. And so that's basically what I see. I mean, I don't know why other people are still fear-mongering or like trying to scare people or trying to tell people these things are going to happen, so on and so forth. But I find that to not be the case. I find that things are going to be great. Shout out to the men in this country for doing the right thing and voting the right way to really overcome this overwhelming female vote, which is totally erratic and irresponsible, a lot of what these women did, based on pure emotions and not even looking into actual facts. There are people, women on the internet still crying right now because they think that they're not going to be able to get abortions. What are you doing getting abortions anyway? What's the point of that? There's plenty of people who want children, like, who will raise the children. You put the child up for adoption, let somebody adopt the child. Why do you have to get an abortion? Why are you neglecting to create the life that you were created to create? I don't understand it. But there's women still crying about that. There's several women I see even on my timeline that are like, reproductive rights are on, they're going away. And I'm like, the woman has the ultimate reproductive rights. If you were in alignment with your divine energy, you could say, I'm not having this baby right now, and the creator would just take it. It wouldn't be a problem. No weird stuff required. Probably some herbs or something, but for real, a lot of these women who are giving up these, getting these abortions are the main ones who need to be birthing children so that they can become more appreciative of their own life. I mean, people don't, anyway, I'm not going to dwell on this too much longer in this video, but I'm sure we'll be coming back to it. So this was just a quick update, just to let people know kind of what's going on, what to keep an eye out for. We'll be doing some more quick videos like this. So peace and blessings, and we'll see you in the next video.